Hey everybody, and welcome to the Everything Voiceover Podcast. My name is Justin D. Torres. The Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by The Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. So right now, I might sound slightly different than my last bunch of podcasts because I am on the Blue Raspberry as opposed to the Blue Yeti, which I got two years ago, maybe actually Christmas, about a year and a half ago. And I, unfortunately, just 3 weeks ago when I was going to go ahead and do some more podcasts, it has this weird way of turning the microphone to look downward. But if you have your USB plugged in, when you turn it, it'll just break off into the actual mic and you will have ruined your Blue Yeti. So a big warning to people out there: if you do have a Blue Yeti microphone, make sure to unplug your USB before you do any turning of the microphone itself. So right now I've got this wonderful Blue Raspberry, which is tiny. It's the tiniest thing I've seen in a while, but I love the way it sounds. And this is our new microphone for, I guess, 2018 for Everything Voiceover. So right now, today, we're going to be talking about the Pay-to-Play Roundup episode. Now, I know very early on in Everything Voiceover, we did a review of Voices.com and Voice123, and I did a couple of podcasts on that, but I think I need to update them now because I have become a part of a couple of new pay-to-play sites, and it's worth getting a review on all those because that's the one thing everyone's asking about. Everyone has their own opinion about what sites are good, what sites are bad. Most people, the pros, don't even use the pay-to-play sites, so the newbies need to know what is good and what is bad. So this will be our pay-to-play roundup episode. And also on everythingvoiceover.com, we are going to be doing I don't know if it's going to be a video or just an article. I'm going to be keeping track of all the numbers of auditions I've been getting from these pay-to-play sites. So we'll do like a P2P shootout or something like that to see where the numbers really lie, because you want to know what you're actually going out for, how many auditions are there, and whether it is really worth the subscription fee, because a lot of things aren't really worth that much. And so we're going to go into that probably in the website a little bit near future, so keep an eye out for that. So without further ado, and a quick preface to this. Once again, I am a young adult male / middle-aged male. I can sometimes do those kind of jobs, so this is from that perspective, not so much a female perspective. Also, I do have a nice studio and a nice microphone, and I'm I would consider myself a professional in voiceovers. So this may not work for the same, these stats may not work for the same for you, or if you're a middle-aged male, you might get more, or if you're a middle-aged female, you might get less. So this works differently for everyone, but it's good to know what I'm going through so you can kind of gauge where you might be at. So I have 5 major factors on a pay-to-play site. Now, just to tell you, pay-to-play sites are for lazy voiceover actors. They aren't doing marketing. They aren't doing cold calls. They aren't trying to find their clients on their own. They're utilizing pay-to-play sites to get the jobs, to get the auditions for them. And the downside of that is that, number one, they charge you a monthly or yearly fee. And number two, they might take a piece of the pie. So if you're willing to part with certain amounts of money for your job or do jobs that are on the lower end of the spectrum, then pay-to-play site might be your way to go. If you're a pro who's been doing it for years upon years and you think $100 jobs and $200 jobs are beneath you, then, don't go out for pay-to-play sites. It's not really worth it. And also, this is for non-union only, so if you're SAG-AFTRA, unfortunately, I wouldn't tell you how to do things because I don't know what it's like. So this is solely for the newer people out there. So without further ado, here's the 5 main factors that I look at when looking at a pay-to-play site. Number 1, number of auditions. Now this is huge because, the number of auditions you get, the more chances you have at a job. I know people are like, I've been to a couple of classes where you think that if you do 1 million jobs, you'll get better at your craft. And that's not necessarily true, but it is true of practice, And that's really the only thing that pay-to-play sites have, So when you're judging a pay-to-play site, you're not going to be judging it for its quality of jobs, because it could have one good quality job a year, but that's not going to do you any good because you're going to be up against 200 people. So you want to be able to get a number of auditions that is at least comparable for you to be able to pay off your subscription fee multiple times over. At least be given the chance to do so. Now, the other thing that we look at is the amount of pay in the auditions. Is there a minimum? Is there no minimum? Is the minimum high? Are there possibilities of getting really, really big jobs? Those are huge, and you want to have multiple jobs that pay off the subscription fee. That's a great thing. If you do one job and it pays off the subscription fee, then all you need to do is really get one job, and that's a good thing. So we're talking about only pay-to-play sites. We're not talking about marketing. We're not talking about agents. We're not talking about anything else. The other factor, number 3, is price per year. That's the subscription fee. That's the monthly fee, and that's straight out of your pocket. So that's your investment. So that's definitely going to take a chunk out of you. And number 4 is just basic downsides and upsides, because every single pay-to-play site has something weird about it that everyone should probably know about before they join them, because people talk about how they hate pay-to-play sites, but they really need to be talking to people who are on them to really get what the good and bad of them are. So, and I suggest seriously listening in on these things to know a little bit more about these sites, because once again, I'm on these sites. I've been working with these sites for the latter part of for Voices.com 4 or 5 years, Voice123 for 3 or 4 years, and I just got started with Bodalgo, and I've been very happy with it, and VoiceRealm for the past 2 years, maybe 3. So those are the 4: a number of auditions, amount of pay in auditions, price per year / subscription fee, and the downsides and upsides. So here's the first one, Voices.com. This is the big one in the industry, the huge one, the monster. Some people hate it, some people love it. Some people just can't get enough of posting online about how much they hate Voices.com. Well, when it comes to the factors of a pay-to-play site, first of all, anyone who says that if they hate pay-to-play sites, then they're not going to like any pay-to-play site. And when I look at people who love that, who hate Voices.com, but they love Voice123, I think it's extremely hypocritical. Anyway, so the number of auditions, huge amounts of auditions for Voices.com. I've been on a lot of pay-to-play sites. The only one that has consistently given a lot of auditions has been Voices.com. We're talking 10 to 15 a day for 5 days a week, not during the weekends. That's a lot. And if you pull out 3 of those in 1 week, you've paid off your subscription fee. So that's a lot of money. Now, what's the minimum pay per job is $100, which is great. Now, they do take a piece out of it. I don't know if it's 10%, 12%, and the other thing about that is, who knows how much they took before that. The minimum is $100, and I've seen it go as far as budgets being $7,000 to $10,000. Do I see them a lot? No. I'm more likely to see $250 to $500. See a lot of 100s to 150s. See the occasional $500 to $750. And then the rare 1 in 100 or so will be $1,000 or more. So, that's the one thing about having a huge amount of jobs. You get a variance of the quality of jobs there. Now, as far as the price per year a month, Voices.com is basically $350 per year or $400 per year, depending on if you were grandfathered in. I pay $350 a year because I was grandfathered in from the past one. I think they have gone up to $400 per year. And they are not the top one. They're tied with the top one, which we will bring up next in the next section. Now, the downside is pretty obvious. You have no knowledge of the cuts that are taken for jobs. They are a middleman rather than an agent, but, rather than being an actual agent, they are a full-fledged company. They are huge. They have hundreds of people working under them, so they have to pay. They're not all just one agent. So, they take more of a cut than most other places. We don't know what they are, and I can tell you right now that the only way you can figure out what your cut is if you're dealing directly with the client, and that means not agents, that means not even production companies. I think if you're dealing directly with the client, you can get the exact amount that is available for you. So there's no cuts. You have no knowledge of their cut. Plus, they're going to take a little bit off the top, depending on how much the job is worth. I think it's maybe 15% or something like that. Ethically, they've gotten to some huge hot water with the purchasing of VoiceBank. But that was mostly through SAG-AFTRA people, and they're the ones complaining about that. I've never really utilized Voice Bank. I never found it very helpful for me, so I've only utilized Voices.com for the jobs that they offer me. And now the upside is they have amazing customer service. If I've had a problem with any client, I can always talk to them, and they will talk to the client, and we'll get things done. I've never had a problem getting paid once. They escrow the funds, and then usually it used to be that it was a 2-week wait. Now it's about a 1-week wait. And usually they also contact you on behalf of the client. So if there's a job coming up and they haven't heard from you, they might actually call you and be like, hey, we'd like you to get this job. We didn't know if you were available or not. We want to know right now. That's something to be said about that, because they find that they are responsible with getting the client what they need, because they're taking a cut of it as well. So customer service is on point, and their client communication is really good. They have a review system, which helps because you can start visually seeing what good work you're doing. And they have the profile section to set up about 3 or 4 demos, which is very good. Overall, Voices.com is really a good starting ground for practicing. And if you're a pro and you're making a lot of money there, you can actually make a lot of money with Voices.com, regardless of the things that have been happening recently. All right, the big number 2 is Voice123. Now, this is shined upon by a lot of people who hate Voices.com because what they are is just a website that connects you to clients, which is great. They are just connecting you to clients. And the one thing that they do is they have auditions and they have client names in there, and that's great. But let's go with the first one, the number of auditions. Well, they have a decent amount. They could have as much, or maybe like 75% of the auditions that Voices.com does, but they have a SmartCast function, which is the worst thing I think is out there for voice actors. It basically punishes you if you audition too much. And let's say if there's an audition for a job where there's 100 people on, and here's what the recommendation is. If you look at a job, it's coming into you, and you look at they've SmartCasted you, so you've been okayed to audition for it. You look at the job, and maybe you look at the fact that the client hasn't seen 20 or 30 auditions. You might think to yourself, do I want to waste one audition on this job? Because this guy may not even put up the job. And then you think to yourself, oh, there's this other job over there that's like 8 out of 10, and I could be on that one, and I know that I'll be listened to, but there's no way to tell if I'm perfectly right for it. So you're thinking along the lines of really trying to get the right auditions to you, but unfortunately, if you send out that audition and you end up getting 200% of the auditions that everyone else has been, you can find yourself, I found myself at one point not doing auditions for, get this, 2 months. At one point, I auditioned for just about anything that came my way with Voice123, not realizing that they were going to punish me with 2 months of no auditions. That is fucking ridiculous. So the number of auditions is pretty much nil. So when I do this pay-to-play shootout, I'm only going to take on auditions that I think I have a shot at. It'll be fewer and far between. So even if they do send me maybe 50, or maybe, no, they rarely send me 50. If they do maybe send me 25 auditions a week, I may only go out for 6 of them. And that in itself puts it in a different realm than Voices.com. I would love to audition for all of this stuff. SmartCast has broken this thing at its legs. And I can see how the more professional people will like it, especially if they got good, they've got really good numbers, If they can pull one at a time, they can sift through the stuff they don't want. But I would like to meet new clients, and I want to audition. So SmartCast hinders me and makes me spend 10 times the amount of time that I would actually just auditioning for it. Let me tell you what a casting director has to do when they listen to auditions. Let me see if you can hear this. It's this. That's all it is. They have to click a mouse, and if they don't like it, click it again. That's it. Whereas we, as voiceover actors, have to go into the studio, read the script, put our spin on it, edit it, and send it out. And yet we're being punished for putting in the work. And what about all those jobs at Voice123 that just don't turn into jobs? Do I, as an auditioner, get my SmartCast switched off to be like, oh, that audition didn't count, so I can go for another audition? Nope. Since Voice123 is solely a means to get clients to voiceover actors, they have no reason to reset my SmartCast for that reason. They just work this. They have the system and they work with it. Now, with the amount of pay, it varies. They have pays that is to be defined, which is horrible. I don't know what that means. They have amounts that are non-profit or no profit or student at the low end, and they have bigger ones that are like SAG-AFTRA, and they have $1,000 jobs as well, so they have a very big variance of pay. And you can actually put in that you don't want to be defined jobs, or you don't want under $100 jobs, and they're there too, so that's fine. And their system is also, get it, $400 a year, which is huge. So they basically have the same amount of payment per year as Voices.com without the staff or the customer service or anything like that, because the downside of Voice123 is that there is zero customer service. If you start dealing with a client and they screw you over, Voice123 will not be there for you. They will not answer the phone. They are not there. SmartCast punishes people who audition. It doesn't punish clients for not coming through on jobs. Once they go through the situation, it's pretty much you're dealing with the client on your own. And that can be a great thing. That can be an amazing thing. You know, I've gotten plenty of clients from Voice123 that are great that I still continually work with. But beyond that, if Voice123 wants to be as good as Voices.com from a voiceover perspective, they need to toss SmartCast out the friggin' window as soon as possible, because they make it extremely hard. They have no controller standard in place for reparation should something go wrong. And, you know, if there's even something on the table of someone losing 2 months of auditions, it just bewilders me. It bewilders me. Oh, okay, now it'd be a good time to say that the Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by the Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Now, we go into number 3, which is the Voice Realm. Now, Voice Realm, I have to say that I am biased for the Voice Realm because the Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by the Voice Realm. But I will give you the statistics that I have and the opinion that I have and tell you right now that it's a good site. It's a very good site. Now, the number of auditions are much less than, say, Voices.com or even Voice123. I maybe get 10 auditions a week, maybe less. Once again, this is non-union, young male, middle-aged male, all this, that's the amount of jobs, auditions I get. Now, the amount of pay can vary. I've seen $40 jobs, which I never go out for, $85 jobs, which I very rarely go out for, and then you've got the occasional $185 or $250, which a $500 and a $700 occasionally pops in. I've seen maybe 2 jobs over $1,000, and I've been there about a year and a half or so. The amount of your subscription fee is $150 per year. Now that is the smallest amount, period, per year that all of these pay-to-play sites put up. And that's a great thing. I mean, especially if you don't have that much money and you're new and you want to try and get things right. Yes, Voice Realm is a good place to start. Maybe in conjunction with the Voices.com to get the numbers up. But, money-wise, it's much better. You're paying, less than half of what you're paying for Voice123 or Voices.com. Now, the other downside to the downside to Voice Realm is that I have a weird rate pattern. You might get into an e-learning and it could be a little weird. They may be like $185 for 2 to 5 minutes, or like $250 to $500 for like 10 to 15 to 20 minutes or something like that. So it's like these generalized statements that don't tell you exactly how much or how big the job is, just a generalized A to B, which is weird because you're like, I'm hoping it's not as big as it is. So, and also, and this is something that I've complained to them about, is that they don't, when they send private auditions to you, they don't have the budget on there. And I've complained. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm auditioning for because I don't see the budget. I don't see how much or how long it is. I see a generalized statement, but I don't see exactly what it is. And they said, well, we have the rates on there, so you're agreeing to the rates. It's like, I don't know what it is. Just tell me what it is. And that could be a pain, and hopefully they've changed that recently. They do take their cut, and I think it's 15% after. And the major complaint of Voices.com is you don't know how big the pie is. I've seen it from a producer's standpoint with VoiceRealm, and it seems like they're using the exact same rates that they use on their producer side. So it looks like they're not taking like a cut on top of the cut, but I can't say for sure. But it looks like they're pretty cool about it, and they seem pretty nice. And the major upside is they're the cheapest pay-to-play in town. They don't have the smart cast. You can go out for every job that pops your way. They have relatively good rates, and it's a great practice ground, and you can make some money. Similar to all the other two, but, $155 price tag per year, you can't really beat it. And the final one, now, first of all, I know there are other ones like Voice Bunny, and which don't ever go out for Voice Bunny. I'm sorry, guys. Even if you are Voice Bunny members, don't ever go out for Voice Bunny or Fiverr, those things. I've actually put myself on Fiverr, but as the actual rates that I normally charge to clients. And hopefully if they see that I've been doing stuff well, I'm not going to give anything for $5, but they have the option of setting your rates. So why not set your rates? Where next one is up is Bodalgo, which is a European company. And you know why they're European? Because they're paying in euros. Now, the number of auditions you get from them is about 3 to 4 a day, maybe less sometimes. It's a small amount per day, but it is pretty consistent. The amount of pay is 100 euros is the minimum, which is about $122, and that's great. That's the highest rate of them all. There's there are 200 to 349 rates. There's 500 to 700 rates, and those are all euros, so that automatically puts it up just a little bit more. Now, how much are you paying per year? 220 euros per year, which comes out to about $270, which is lower than Voice123 and Voices.com. Now, the major downside here is you're in Europe now, so times are different. Job auditions pop up at weird times. But I've heard this from, I believe, J. Michael Collins on a podcast recently, that Bodalgo, what happens is as you put in your audition, once the client starts looking at the auditions, they see them from the most new or the latest audition to the oldest one. So, in a way, you don't want to be the first person who auditions, but you can't be the last one, so there's really no way to figure out where the auditions are at, so you just kind of got to audition when you can. And that's better than, say, the Voices.com thing where you want to get in within the first 20 to really have a good chance at it. Okay? Now, the other upside is that you are special. You are now an American, doing auditions for Belgium or Germany. So when they want an American, you're the special one. You're not run of the mill anymore. The subscription is nice and low, and especially for the yearly, the auditions are really well priced. But here's a big thing: competition is savage. This is not a secret, well-kept secret. There are a lot of people going out for these jobs. But if you do get one of these clients and they're in a different country, you might have a client you'll be working with for a long, long period of time. So it might actually be worth it. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the pay-to-play site showdown/roundup. Here are my recommendations. Now, if you're non-union, and you have to be non-union, because if you are union, then you should have stopped listening a while ago. My recommendations: if you are a poor newbie or someone who's low on cash, try going out for VoiceRealm or ACX. ACX is a free service for audiobooks. Why not? Go for it. If you are a medium, if you're just getting started, you've got your studio set up, maybe moderate, maybe you're making a little bit extra money, I'd say go with Voices.com for the pure numbers, or go for Bodalgo, but unfortunately you won't get as many auditions, but the jobs that you win will be worth more. But from a pure numbers perspective, there's no way I cannot recommend voices.com. What I would also recommend is that you supplement it with VoiceRealm. It's a small amount of money comparative to both Bodalgo and Voice123, and you'll be able to get even more jobs off of that. Now, if you are a professional person, which means you've got a studio and you're all ready to go, and you've got maybe a higher end microphone, and you're ready to audition, and you are fully functional with an editing system, and you audition over and over again, you're cool. I would say, number one, go with voices.com for the pure numbers of it all. Maybe to supplement with Bodalgo, same situation. Supplement with VoiceRealm. And maybe if you've got the patience and you can take the frustration, go with Voice123. Now, that would be my recommendation. Now, if you're an expert with a booking rate of 5 to 10%, you pick what works for you. If you can do 5 to 10% on Bodalgo, that'll be worth a lot more than the 5-10% of, say, VoiceRealm. If you can do a 5-10% of Voice123 and you can really pick the right ones and they're all over like $1,000, then yeah, go for Voice123. If you're a kick-ass balls to the wall person and you can hit the numbers, and it doesn't matter how many numbers you get, you always pretty much hit about 5 to 10%, then you pick the right one that works for you. And don't be afraid, because these are all just recommendations. Now, like I said earlier in the podcast, everythingvoiceover.com, we're going to be putting up some really cool pay-to-play shootouts where I'll put up the actual statistics of every week for my pay-to-play sites, because I've started to sign up for a program that makes me keep track of all those things. And also keep track of where all my payments are coming from, where my jobs are coming from, and I'll talk about that particular application next week. So, thank you guys so much for listening. My name is Justin D. Torres. The Everything Voiceover Podcast is brought to you by the Voice Realm, where only professional voice actors are listed. Thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at EverythingV. Go to everythingvoiceover.com. Check out our website. Check us out on YouTube too. We've got a couple of videos up there. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope to see you guys soon at maybe some of the conventions. Take care.